I get asked all the time, what's the difference between marital property and separate property? And really the keystone to this is when you were married. Any assets or any property that's acquired after the date of the marriage is marital property. But there are some types of assets that are more complicated. For example, if one spouse bought a house prior to getting married and the other spouse moved in after marriage, that asset actually has two components. They have a separate property interest and a marital property interest. The separate property is any property that was acquired prior to the date of the marriage. But obviously, once the parties are married, that asset may become a marital property, and there may become a marital component to that as well. I get asked all the time about businesses and when one spouse owns a business or if there's a family business, how does that get divided? Well, a business is an asset just like anything else, like a home, a car, even a bank account. The business can be more complicated though, especially when you're dealing with services and things like that. But the business ultimately is no different than those other assets. The court has to determine, is that asset marital property? If it is, then it's subject to an equitable or fair division. If that business is not, then, or if there's a portion of that business that was started before the parties got married, then that would be a separate property interest, which wouldn't be subject to division. Again, the keystone here is when were the parties married? Did they acquire assets, or did assets that were brought into the marriage acquire value? If they did, then they'll be subject to division by the court.